Where do politicians like Ilhan Omar get the gall, the gumption, the audacity to immigrate here from some garbage heap, some absolute dump of a country like Somalia, and literally with the clothes on their back come here? Now, apparently, she's a multimillionaire now. She went from having a few $1,000s a couple years ago to having 30 million. But she comes here. We allow her to come here and even run for office. But how is it that we have made it, we have normalized or allowed immigrants to come here? And then, like Ilhan Omar said, the biggest threat to America is radical white males or white males. That's actually what she said, and that just blows my mind. How it's like, if we didn't allow those people here, would there be anybody complaining? If we had never let any Somalians come here, would anybody be complaining about white supremacy? If we didn't let any Palestinians like Rashida Tlaib, if we didn't let any of these people come in, would any of them be complaining, or would anybody be complaining about white supremacy? I don't think so, honestly. I mean, it's like we things were definitely balanced at one point between whites and blacks, and there wasn't a large foreign population, and we had a good thing going. But now we have these people that come from another place. They they don't complain when they're scratching out a living like everybody else. It's once they're comfortable, then they decide, okay, I've infiltrated, and now let's see how much I can change this place. These idiots have let me in. Let's see if these idiots will let me get more comfortable and make it a more comfortable place for my people and a less comfortable place for the people that this country actually belongs to. Like I just we didn't give these people, like, who gave these people the go ahead or the okay? Oh, it's all right for you to start bashing our country. It's all right for you to, they see the shining city on the hill, and they want to come here. They get here. They become successful. Then they want to bash the country that's given them all these things and bash the people of that country because, perhaps their feelings were hurt a few times or once or twice. They want, it's just like, who do these people think they are? It's like, if you don't like the way our culture is, then go. Then go, it's like Ilhan Omar, she's got $30 million. It's like, well, then take your ass on back to Somalia, where this great place, this great bastion of Islam and everything that she loves and that, like, she doesn't even honestly, she doesn't even stand up for Americans. She is like a straight up she's fighting on behalf of Somalia, like, to the point where Minnesota's flag looks just like the Somalian flag. It's ridiculous. But these people, they come here. Please let us come to your country. Please let us escape our country, where my people are don't treat each other very good. My people and my government, they don't create an environment where I can flourish. Please, America, please, Americans, can I come live in your country and work for work for a better future and for a better and a better future for my kids. They get here, they accomplish that stuff, and then they think, I guess they just start thinking, this place is great, but it could be a little bit better. It could be a little bit better. And could that be any more offensive? Could that be any more insulting? Like she's my age. She's only been here for a few years, for goodness sakes. And she's already of the mind that she knows how to do this better than we do, that she knows better than the American founders, that she knows better than all of the politicians and all of the legislation that came before her, that she just flat out knows better. There are other ways of knowing, as they say for indigenous people. There are other ways. And, where did they get this gall to think that they can tell us how America should be? It's like, well, if that's how you feel, why aren't you in Somalia telling Somalians how their country could be better? Wouldn't that make more sense? Instead, they come here and have the gall to try to change our country. Why don't you try to change your own country? Why don't you try to make your own slice of heaven, your own shining city on a hill? Why do you have to come to ours and change ours? Same thing with Mexico. It's like they don't they have no want to change their circumstances at home. They don't want to push change. They don't want to protest. They don't want to fight for their rights. But when they get here, all of a sudden, that's like the first thing on the agenda. Is we're apparently, we just came from some place that we can't change, but now that we're here in America, some place that we desperately want to be, now we're ready to make some changes. Now we're ready to call some people to the carpet. Now we're ready to expect something more. And it's awful hypocritical. It's awful offensive, and it's resentful. And these people, we need to ship their asses back. They've got to go. I mean, they've got to go. It's like they're spitting in our faces, truly. They're in a country where people don't finish their meals. They leave they throw away half-empty containers of soda and beverages. And these people come from a place where they're below the poverty line, and people die every year from malnutrition and emaciation. But they don't want to change that. They don't want to or if they do want to change it, they do it by first coming here and then convincing us to spend our tax dollars and our own money there. And I just seen something yesterday that only the UN held a vote to make food a human right. Now this just blows my mind. I've seen it on X, and the two countries, believe it or not, the US and Israel, and people, it's like another reason why, oh, look, the US and Israel, they're the most evil countries in the world. I mean, which is ridiculous on its face. It's like, the most evil? You mean, first of all, we pay 99% of all the world aid. Every country on this planet either has their hand out, or they all have their hand out. Even Europe has their hand out. But they either have their hand out, or they're pointing at somebody else with their hand out, saying, why aren't you feeding them? Why aren't you feeding them? You guys have so much extra, so much abundance. Your culture, your way of life is so abundant. Why aren't you feeding those people? You have extra. You have extra. You should be feeding those people, even though you're $30 trillion in debt. And when I read that food should be a human right, I don't read that as, nobody should starve. I read that as we think everybody should have access to food, and we know that food doesn't just appear like manna from God. But we're all too poor. So, and really they know when they vote for that they're not going to be contributing to food as a right. what they're doing is tacitly saying, "Hey, America, we want to force you. We want to cudgel you into paying for everybody else all over the planet." That's essentially what they're doing. Because you know who is anybody kidding? Nobody's being fooled here. We give all the damned aid. We know that when Tajikistan votes for food to be, and all these countries vote for food to be a right. How about all the countries that are the countries that are getting aid, they're starving. Of course they're going to vote for food to be a human right. Even, it's ridiculous. And if God bestowed manna on earth, it would be a human right. I would agree. It would be a human right. But, if there was no government, if you were the only person on earth, or if you were on a desert island, would food still be a right? Would it still be a right, or would you have to work for it? It's like, it's totally ridiculous. The whole premise is ridiculous. And to my mind, that the whole world, that's them saying, America, or they all, rules for thee and not for me. That's what it is. None of them pay. We pay the bulk of the aid. And when they say that the food should be a human right, they're not talking about, France isn't saying that food should be a human right and we're willing to pay for it. We're willing to pay for it. That's not what they're saying. Everybody knows food isn't free. There is no such thing as a free lunch. So when they vote for something like that, for food to be a human right, all they're saying is, we think America, we love that America gives aid, but we want to codify it. We want to make it a law that they have to give aid. We don't like that they can just turn off the spigot. We don't like that when they're in arrears and they owe money that they can just stop giving the aid. They don't like that. And it just blows my mind that these people, to my mind, that's what they're doing, is they're just trying to codify it. And what's funny is, let's say they did pass that, and we did pass it. Who's going to enforce that? Nobody. It would be totally voluntary. It would be totally voluntary. If people in a country are starving, nobody is under any obligation to feed those people, whether they vote for it to be a human right or not. What are we going to do? Sue the poor country because they're not providing human rights? Countries withhold God-given rights from their people all the time. Nobody takes them to task. Saudi Arabia, they didn't even let women drive. But nobody, goes over, fights a war so women can drive, or fights a war so people aren't starving in such and such country. And it's just ridiculous how, they're just constantly thinking of different ways that they can squeeze a little bit more out of us. Like we're just this, we're like a bank or something, or a fruit, and they've squeezed us so much. We're in $30 trillion of debt, and the juice isn't coming out it's not flowing like it used to. And damn it, they're upset about that. They don't like that. The world has had it so damn good, and if we disappeared, they wouldn't know what the hell to do with themselves. There isn't a country on planet Earth that wouldn't collapse if we didn't exist. There isn't a country on Earth. I don't think the second most industrialized and rich nation could survive without us, or at least not in the near future. Us with our consumer buying power, we prop up half their damned economies. And they're all lazy as all hell. Siestas, they half the day. They've gotten lazy as a result of us enabling that laziness. Same thing with Europe. They don't pay for, or they weren't paying for their military, so they could afford these ridiculous social welfare programs and these Ponzi schemes. That's what they are. They're Ponzi schemes. And we have Social Security and stuff, but it's not as bad as some of the other. NHS in England. They have health care. It's just it's crazy, and it really bothers me. It's like America is just we are the carnival mark of the world. We are the piñata of the world. They hit us and candy comes out. Oh, or they get hit with a disaster like an earthquake in Haiti, and all of a sudden, hey, where's the spigot? Why is the spigot not flowing, America? Where's our money? Where is our money, America? You know, like, thank God for President Trump, but honestly, I hope that, if I had my druthers, we'd go a lot further. And I mean, not right this second, but as time went on, uh, nobody would be getting permanent aid or perennial aid every year. No, 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 no. You would get it would be like states where they have to declare a state of emergency, and then they can get a little bit of money, and then it's only on for a little bit of time. Like, things need to change big time, because man, we are being taken for a ride by the rest of the planet, by our own politicians, and I'm ready to see it stop.